So the creator of Sonic the Hedgehog had some very interesting things to say about the Sonic movie design. Let's discuss what he said right now.
I got hot sauce in my bag, swag.
Hello there, beautiful human. My name is RidersDX and welcome to my channel, where today we're talking yet again about the Sonic movie, but this time we're talking about what a certain creator of our Blue Hedgehog thinks about the Sonic movie design. I don't know why I said certain creator, because there's only one creator of Sonic the Hedgehog, so disregard that. But before we do that, I just want to comment on today's fan art. So this one comes from someone named Young Danny DeVito. So this is someone that posted this art in my Discord server, and check it out. It looks like a really cool recreation of my original avatar that Kaden made. So yeah, check it out. What I love about this one, I don't know if this was intentional, but it might just be the angle, but it looks like Metal Duckles in this one has a huge stomach, and I just think that's hilarious. I love it, and it might be the angle more so than the actual way the person drew it, but I love that. But yeah, this is a really cool recreation of the avatar, so thank you so much for this. I'm not sure if they have any links or not, so if they do, then I'll be sure to leave it in the description box below. Like I said before, if there's a YouTube channel, I'll leave it in the top right corner. So thank you so much, Danny. I really appreciate this. Back to the topic at hand. So earlier this week, when the official Sonic movie design was initially leaked, Yuji Naka, the creator of Sonic the Hedgehog, had tweeted out some things that got people talking about how Yuji Naka himself feels about the Sonic movie design, and we're going to talk about what he said today in this video. So, because I don't speak Japanese and I don't exactly trust Google Translate, I actually had a friend of mine who knows a little bit of Japanese. I think her translations are really good and they make a lot of sense, so I'm just going to share what I was able to get from her. So thank you so much for helping me, a friend that remains unnamed. So in this first tweet, this tweet is actually a bit of a joke, but a joke with like a dark undertone to it. So basically what my friend said that Yuji Naka was saying in this tweet was that looking at Sonic as a whole, seeing how his head is super big and round and the belly the way that it is, it makes him think that Sonic is out of balance, you know, because like maybe his head is too big and his body doesn't seem like something that could support that head. Yuji Naka was basically saying, will Sonic be okay? So my friend describes it as a gag line, so it just might be some humorous way of like making fun of a drawing, but in like a polite Japanese way. So it's very cute what Yuji Naka is saying here basically. But there's nothing really that interesting about this tweet, so let's go to the next one. In this next tweet, he seems to be speculating if the marketing company, which is Paramount, accidentally leaked the art. And that's pretty much it for this tweet, so let's go ahead to the next one. Yeah, I know it doesn't seem like he says much right now, but this is the final tweet that he tweeted out that a lot of people have been talking about in particular, and this is what he's basically saying. He has a feeling that this leak was planned. He doesn't think for sure that it's planned, but he does think that it's possible that Paramount did intentionally leak this design. And he's saying that if Paramount did leak the design, he's disappointed that that's the move that they made, because he doesn't think that this negative reaction is good for the Sonic franchise as a whole. He thinks it could be damaging to the IP, and he's also hesitant in believing this is actually the real Sonic movie art. And of course, we all know that this is confirmed now, that this is the final art from various news sources. But at the time that Yuji Naka tweeted this out, he was very hesitant in declaring that this was the final art. He actually was sort of thinking that it's highly possible that this was fan art, and it's definitely very interesting that Yuji Naka was thinking that. And of course, the biggest criticism that he has with this art is the fact that Sonic has bare hands. So he's wondering, why does Sonic have bare hands and why doesn't he have gloves? And he's also very shocked that Sonic's hands were white. So that's the gist of what Yuji Naka was saying here. And what I think is really interesting from his comments here is that he suspects that it's an intentional leak. He doesn't like the idea of the fact that it might be an intentional leak, because he thinks that this is conjuring up a really negative perception of the Sonic franchise, and that this is not good for the IP as a whole going into the future. You know, this movie will be like a one and done deal, but what's going on with Sonic right now in terms of his reputation reputation is gonna stick with him for a while. And I have mixed opinions about that. While I do think this won't be good for the Sonic brand as a whole if the movie ends up flopping and is a really badly received movie, I don't think this movie is gonna have a huge impact on the franchise as a whole just because it's a movie. Video game movies, I hate to say it, are typically bad. So if this Sonic movie does end up being bad, which could or could not happen, I'm not gonna say either way, it's not gonna be that surprising. And franchises move on from bad movies all the time, video game franchises in particular, because that's not their forte. Video games weren't made to be movies, so if a movie flops, then that's not going to impact the video game franchise as long as the video games is doing well. Now, if we get more flops in video games, then we have reason to worry, but it doesn't look like Sonic is struggling too much in the video game department right now. I mean, he does have a lot of flops, but he also has some successes, so we don't really have to worry about that. But that's the gist of what Yuji Naka is saying, and what I really want to talk about with the rest of this video is the importance that we're putting on Yuji Naka's opinions on the Sonic movie. So a lot of people that are criticizing the Sonic movie are referring to the fact that not even Yuji Naka likes the result of the Sonic design, which, don't get me wrong, is definitely important because the creator of Sonic, he's probably the person that knows deep inside and out what Sonic as a character is like and what makes him appealing and what doesn't, because he's the one that conjured him up. So there's a lot of things that he has in terms of his perspective that could be really valuable. And of course we want the creator of the original IP to be happy with what's going on in the franchise. In an ideal world, Yuji Naka would approve of everything that's going on in the Sonic franchise right now. All the comics, the TV shows, the video games, the movie. In a perfect world, Yuji Naka would love all of it, and the same would go for like any other franchise that's ever existed, that's ever had multimedia handed off to third-party companies. That is a perfect world, but this is not a perfect world. So as great as that would be, it's just not realistic, and Yuji Naka is certainly not the first person to dislike what another company is doing to his character. But here's the thing about Sonic the Hedgehog: even though Yuji Naka created Sonic, Yuji Naka technically has not been involved with Sonic's development since 2005, 2006, because I think he left during Sonic 06's development, right? And I'm not gonna comment on why he left Sonic during that time when arguably Sonic really needed it the most, but I'm sure it wasn't a great environment to be working in when they were developing Sonic 06, because I'm sure there's a lot of internal turmoil in terms of the harsh deadlines that the team was trying to make and the conflicts in terms of what the game was supposed to be and trying to develop it on these next gen systems. There's a lot of messy things going on during that time in the Sonic franchise, and I'm not blaming Yuji Naka for leaving the Sonic franchise at that moment, but Yuji Naka has not been that involved with Sonic ever since then. And so how much weight should we really be putting on his opinion of the Sonic movie design? Like I said before, in a perfect world, he would be happy with the movie design, he'd be happy with everything going on within the franchise right now. But the reality is, the creator is never going to be truly satisfied with everything that's going on with their creation. It's just not going to work. Like, I'm sure Stan Lee, for example, saw a lot of things happen to his characters that he did not like. That's one of the most obvious things I could think of in terms of examples. And so because it happens regularly, is it really that important that Yuji Naka doesn't like the design? In my honest opinion, no. I don't think it's that important. It is disappointing. I wish that Yuji Naka wasn't supportive, and I wish that Paramount and Yuji Naka kind of exchanged some thoughts about the design, but it doesn't look like they're involved at all with each other at all. So that's another disappointing thing. But it's not absolutely required. It's not absolutely necessary, because when you give a franchise to a company, the company owns a franchise. So in this case, Sega owns Sonic the Hedgehog inside and out. And so when a company takes control of an IP that you created, they have the full rights to do whatever they want with it, and you're not going to be happy with everything the company does. Not just the Sonic movie, but a bunch of other things that Yuji Naka probably wasn't proud of, like Sonic 06 probably, for example. And so I don't think we can use like Yuji Naka Naka not liking the design as argument that this movie design should not be happening, that this movie design should not be the final design, you know? Criticize the movie design for other things, like you don't like certain features of it, or you don't think it represents Sonic's character. But we really shouldn't be putting our eggs in the basket of like original creator who hasn't been involved with Sonic since 2005 and 2006 says that they don't like the design. Like, I don't know, that's just my opinion. I don't think that we should be putting that much weight on it, because ultimately that's just one person, and Sonic was conjured up by one person, but Sonic wasn't created by one person. You know, the original Sonic the Hedgehog game was made by a team. So Yuji Naka may have come up with the idea, come up with the concept, but Sonic the Hedgehog was fleshed out because of a team that was behind him. And with Sonic the Hedgehog in particular, he had a bit of a different portrayal between Japan and North America. So even then we had different deviations in terms of who Sonic the Hedgehog was, and that was just the very beginning of the franchise. Now we're jumping over to like 20 to 25 years now, and Sonic is, of course, divided up into so many different fractions, so many different interpretations. It's just very natural for this franchise now, and whether or not it's a good thing, that's a totally different discussion for another day. But overall, I think while it's sad that Yuji Naka doesn't like the design, I don't think it's something that we should be using as a reason to reject the design. You know, Yuji Naka, while he did create Sonic the Hedgehog, he has his own idea of what Sonic should be like, and ultimately we all have our own idea of what Sonic should be like. I mean, sure, there's a lot of people that think Sonic should be like his video game counterpart, but what really is Sonic's video game counterpart? Do you want him to be more like classic Sonic? Do you want him to be more like the adventurous Sonic? Or do you want him to be more like the jokey modern Sonic? You know, there's even fractions there in terms of like what Sonic should be. So like I said, we really shouldn't be pointing to one person's opinion as to why this design is not a good idea. You know, criticize actual things about the design. Don't like validate your opinion by saying that, oh, these other people that were involved with Sonic don't like it, because that's their interpretations, that's their opinions of Sonic the Hedgehog. Ultimately, it's about what you think of Sonic, what you think Sonic should be like, and what you think is right for the franchise. Because if we put all our eggs into Yuji Naka's basket, you know, I don't know if this is true or not, but I think Yuji Naka is very responsible for Shadow the Hedgehog, for example. And looking back on that now, Shadow the Hedgehog was a terrible idea, at least in my honest opinion, and it left a very, very damaging mark on the Sonic franchise. So Yuji Naka hasn't always had the most perfect judgment either in terms of what Sonic should be. Case closed. So don't use his opinion as a reason to validate the fact that this design sucks. Criticize the design based on its own merits, and stop relying on the other people that have been more involved with Sonic having an opinion on the design. Make up your own mind. It's basically what I'm saying. But okay, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. I hope I made sense. I felt like I was rambling a lot at the end in particular, so I apologize for that. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about Yuji Naka's comments on the Sonic movie design? Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? And how much weight do you think we should be putting on his opinions on the design? Do you think it's something that we should be taking into complete consideration? Or do you think it's just one person's opinion and that it ultimately shouldn't matter what the creator of Sonic thinks, who hadn't been involved with the franchise for like 10 to 15 years? And I know I sound kind of biased, but that's just my opinion. So I'm very welcome to hearing what you all think about this. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe to my channel if you like videos like these, want to see more in the future, follow me on Twitter at RidersDX, or join my Discord server, the Spongy Garden. And this is Riders, riding out.